Space. Gypsy, bodega. Okay, now, we are going to talk about here on Space Gypsy Bodega, or we've been continuing to talk about here, is using dreaming and all the dream yogas, and to achieve states of lucid dreaming, and also lucid dreaming in the awake state, where you're kind of daydreaming but also going through your activities, so kind of like a 50-50 thing. But to know that, better understand or better navigate, you need to know the brain waves, and how brain waves work. See, the brain is ruled by the moon, and the moon, of course, is an amazing electromagnetic effects on the earth as well as on your body. So on you, the infinite number here, 8, or what is also called the analemma, is how the brain, the left, right now, this would be the left hemisphere, then comes out to the right hemisphere and forms this 8, or it's also the sign of infinity, and it moves like that, with the center, the pineal gland, being the north pole, and the edges out here being the south pole. So the energy field shoots out from the dead center, or inertic center. It comes out to the southern edge to its peak, and then shoots back around towards the North Pole again, to the center. And then it shoots back out, and it changes direction. So it changes polarities to the south, and then comes back into the north. And this happens, throughout the day, throughout the year, at different speeds, and it gives us a algorithmic wave, and then a group of these algorithmic waves create electromagnetic fields of all these algorithmic waves, all moving in these figure 8 type waves, with the north being in the middle and the south being at the edges. South out here, north in here. Here's the heart torus field, the electromagnetic field. And I'll show you now. We're going to draw out here now, in this little area here, the how that would look, and how that creates sacred geometry, and what we call the flower of life. And understanding that helps us to understand how electromagnetic fields work, and how the brain works, in different ways to move with the brain and its fields and sensitivities. So let's go ahead. We're going to start. So we know the middle is north, right? And the southerly points are south. So I'll go ahead, and we start from the north, and it curves up and goes to the south pole. Then it comes back in and turns into the north. Changes polarity, comes back down to the south pole, comes back to the north pole. And then we have our first. And then the sun, the electromagnetic wave comes down to the south pole. Then it comes back around up into the north pole. And then it comes back out, shooting out from the middle, and then back out to the edge. And it keeps making this curve. And remember, we're always looking at this little curve, the arc. That right there is what we this is all made of, and that's that arc. This arc here that you're seeing here, it has a generative, fixed, and operative point, and a dissolve point, the GOD process. So there we go. Whoops, sorry. Do the next one. So it's starting from the middle, north, right? It generates energy, gets its fixed points, and it comes to the south, and it starts mutating and changing. and it generates, comes to the fixed point, goes to the North Pole, and mutates and changes. Now it switches polarity, right? And it comes out here and it shoots to there, and then back into the north. Okay, so you see that again, made the next figure 8, and I'll shoot this one out this way, coming up to the south point, coming back into the south, generating energy from here, from this point, coming down. Whoops, I'm sorry. Generating energy coming down to that point, and then coming back down. We have our next figure 8. Let's redo that one so it looks a little better. There, and there, and then it comes out and around, and it goes there to there. We'll go with that one. And then I'll do my next one. Bam. Bam. See, it comes down to the middle, shooting out to the South Pole, coming back to the North Pole. And then our last one, shooting out to the North Pole, coming out to the South Pole, shooting out to the South Pole, going back to the North Pole. And you can see all of nature, flowers, in the small ways and in the big ways. You can see that this is how the nature works. These are fields that move in this figure 8 type way. Our brain moves from, it can go from the left hemisphere to the, from the right hemisphere to the left hemisphere, from the right. So the north is also the equilibrium point, the place where is the strongest, because it's the most balanced of all in the electromagnetic field. So this middle area here is where you get all this equilibrium and all this equal balanced energy. As it shoots out to the extremes, it gets out of balance and weakens, and then it's getting pulled back, and it magnetically pulled. It's electrically shooting out and then magnetically getting pulled back, but all coming central to the North Pole, which generates all the energy. And that's my talk on the electromagnetic fields, the algorithmic waves, that thing, and how they create electromagnetic fields, and how that's sacred geometry with the flower of life.